That's a snack.
Hello,
Hello,
and welcome to What's on Your Plate.
a place for all things mood, food, and well-being.
Oh my word, how many times is it going to take me to say hello? Right, here we go. Hi,
Hello.
we are back with What's on Your Plate, and it's March, and I can't believe it.
2 weeks this was supposed to last.
I found my little how I'm going to organize my life for the next month poster the other day and was like, I was so deluded.
Happy and hopeful.
Absolutely. And what a month March has been.
It's been busy, I think, and there's been other news
I
instead of
know.
COVID. And I hear it's your birthday in March.
It is. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
March baby. Only just. I should have been an April baby, but the one time in my life where I was early. Before we start, we just want to say that this episode is going to be talking about body image. And if that is something that is going to trigger you, then we absolutely love you. And thank you so much for coming along to listen. But we would love you more to protect yourself. And we're happy to say goodbye and come back next month. What is your food, mood, and viewed?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to go with mood first. Tired, just so tired. I mean, I'm sure it's the same vibe that I'm getting from everybody at the moment, but just kind of, yeah, just you can't do anything about it. I feel really flat. Just kind of like I've been run over in a cartoon. Not lazy, but just plodding along, that kind of vibe. And I guess that's because we've been in lockdown for such a long time now, sucking the energy out of me a bit. Not negative, just tired. Food, I'm trying to try new things. So I had help, but made something called a cauliflower remoulade yesterday.
Wow,
I've
that's
never
very
ever
posh.
had it. Yeah. I mean, it turns out it's raw cauliflower that you blend and you put I don't know if you're a pickle fan. I'm obsessed with gherkins, and I didn't used to like them, but I love them now. Of pickled onions, things like that. And so you mix it all up, and it kind of becomes a bit like German dinner, and you have it with roast chicken, and it's kind of a bit like sauerkraut or something like that. And it's really delicious. Odd, but I've really enjoyed making it.
What have you been viewing?
Mostly positive things. So I've been watching a lot of Friends, the classic. Oh God, I love Friends. Just every time I feel low, I pop it on and it peps me up and it feels great. And I have been watching New Girl. Have you ever
I
seen New
love
Girl?
New Girl.
It's
Oh,
hysterical. I love it. And I'm a bit in love with Nick Miller. I mean, there's so many. I mean, Winston and Schmidt are hilarious, but Nick Miller, he's an old man in a young man's body, and
yeah.
I'm feeling it. And then on that kind of girly vibe, my friend that I live with, she and I wanted to watch something happy because we've been watching a lot of Netflix murder mysteries. So we decided to watch The Proposal with Sandra Bullock.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So much, and it really was such a nice Friday night vibe of just putting it on, and I just couldn't stop laughing. And Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, they've got such good chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so funny, and I really love a chick flick evening.
I know you were a little bit concerned about me last time when I said my food was butternut squash. So I am craving a dirty burger. Just to be fair, a dirty burger really should come from a van, but I'm talking about the everything piled on, the cheese, the onions. All I can think about is dirty burger and chips at the moment, and that is what
Sounds great.
yeah, I'm just obsessed with it.
So what sauce do you pick?
Mayonnaise, definitely. My mum used to make this incredible barbecue sauce, and I think my dad's still got the recipe actually. He won't give it to me because of the sugar content in it, but but that would be if I could make anything, it would be that. Or I quite like Peronaise, good old Nando's. So, dirty burger mayonnaise. Always, always. That's my food. My mood, it's just really grey outside, and I think I'm really affected by the weather. So I'm a little bit sad, but I'm also looking forward to my birthday, which is exciting. My viewed, I've been watching, have you got Amazon Prime?
Yes.
So I've been watching The Wilds. So a group of girls, and they end up on a desert island together. and it's about how they survive. But you know, by the end of the first episode, that something else is really up. If you watched Orphan Black, it's got that kind of vibe, like a little bit dark. And I absolutely loved it. And it made me think of a question, because there's an episode all about a packet of crisps. If you were on a desert island, what 3 snacks would you want to have with you?
I think, well, first one, because I'm really enjoying this at the moment, because I'm sadly dairy free because I have an allergy, but Tesco have just started doing this amazing mint dark chocolate.
Oh, that sounds good.
I love mint. I mean, so many people I know are like, oh, it tastes like toothpaste. It doesn't. It's delicious. Hummus and black pepper crisps. I feel good about that. And then, weirdly, it's a bit of a healthy one, but I do really enjoy it. Raw carrot.
Okay, you could put that in the hummus as well, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like kind of like a sneaky extra snack. But yeah, it's just I'm just really enjoying hummus right now. You?
I think somewhere in the mix has got to be ice cream, because I'd be on a desert island. I'd be like, I should have ice cream. Oh, definitely a crispy sort of thing. I do love kettle chips. So, actually, no, I tell you what I like. They're called Munchos. They're quite nice. They're like tortillas, but as crisps. I like them.
Nice.
And then, do you remember chocolate pretzels? They were like, oh my gosh, like that sweet and salty. Oh my word, chocolate pretzels. So yeah, that would be my 3. Although I'm a little bit obsessed with apples and peanut butter at the moment, so that might go in instead of the ice cream.
Don't end up with scurvy.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go on a desert island and come back looking great, not like covered in stuff. We were going to chat today a little bit about body image. So if this is a trigger, this would be the time to turn off. I don't know how you felt about it, Francesca, but some of the statistics that I found were just blew my mind a little bit. So one of them being that children as young as 5 are saying that they need to go on a diet. I just found that absolutely incredible.
It's incredibly sad. I was very shocked at that statistic, as well as, you know, the 6 to 12-year-olds. You found out that 40 to 50% demonstrated dissatisfaction with some part of their body size, shape.
What are we doing for young people to feel like that? Yeah,
really young kids is what shocked me. As a teenager, you're desperate to fit in and you want to look just like your friend. At that age, you should just be having fun and playing. You shouldn't even be thinking about what you look like. Yeah. Sadly, it's all around now, isn't it?
It's such an age where your body is, I mean, even for your teenage years, you know, your body is constantly changing. Dissatisfaction maybe in certain seasons, like, suddenly shot up in height.
Like you're growing as a human. Your body needs to protect your organs and you're exerting a lot more energy. So I think it's valid, and they're just trying to grow and they're already being judged.
There's 4 kind of agreed pillars, I suppose, of body image, and that is that it is about the way we see ourselves, so our perception, the way we feel about the way we look, the thoughts and beliefs that we feel about our body, and the things that we then do in relation to the way that we look. It's a holistic look on how we feel about our bodies. So it's not just what we see in the mirror. I know the way I see myself and the way other people seem to see me don't add up. People might say, oh, you look great, or this or that, and you think, but why don't I feel the same way as other people are saying I should feel about my body?
We have spoken before about just kind of what school can be like, and how there can be cliques. You had kind of groups. I mean, it's not so Americanized here, I don't think, in that sense, but there are definitely times where you might look at like the sporty girls and think, oh, well, why am I not like that? Going swimming was always a palaver for me, because you'd have to put on a swimsuit and get in the swimming pool, and boys would look at you and you would look at them and you'd think, you know, you'd suck your tummy in and feel awkward. And I was definitely a normal size at that time, in the sense of just a normal girl. I wasn't hugely overweight, but I wasn't thin by anyone's standards. And I remember just feeling a bit odd, and like an odd one out sometimes, of just like I didn't reach a standard of beauty because I still had a bit of a tummy.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically what it feels like. Just, I mean, for men as well, because I mean, if you're a guy and you've got a bit of a tummy, you're sort of deemed, oh, haha, you know, oh, he's going to be the funny guy with the big belly, and oh, look, he's got boobs. And it's just the same for men as well. It's not very nice. And I think school is a place where people can kind of say things that are completely unfounded and make you feel like crap.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I was thinking about what kind of affected my body image when I was younger. And I would say, so I remember that the term overweight was definitely used with me in primary school. From professionals, not from friends. I remember actually being on a diet at primary school and being so embarrassed by the fact that I was on a diet that someone asked me, oh, why aren't you eating this? And someone else said, oh, is it because you're a vegetarian? And I said, yes. So I became an accidental vegetarian, although I wasn't by the time I was a teenager, because again, I was influenced by my friends who were eating McDonald's and I wanted to eat McDonald's. I also think I was really influenced by magazines and books. So I was obsessed with Sweet Valley High. If you asked me back then what I wanted to look like, I would have described one of the Wakefield twins. The books were full of fat phobia. They were full of you had to be slim and beautiful and blonde. If I looked at the supermodels, so the women that we were all looking up to be, we had Pamela Anderson and Cindy Crawford, these beautiful sort of curvy, tanned, big breasts. And then it kind of did this massive U-turn into what was known as heroin chic. It was really, I can't say the word, androgynous, that's it. And it was not good. And size 0 became a massive thing, that's what we wanted to be. And I was never going to be that. And I'm okay with that now, but back then,
yeah. I mean, I was just thinking of just a million things actually, because it's not necessarily a triggering conversation because I feel okay with who I am. It's more that it brings up a lot of memories of like feelings and yeah, self-comparison, magazines and things maybe, but it was more friends that I compared myself to, and I was thinking, God, why are they a size 8 and I'm not? It kind of dominated my thoughts constantly of, you know, I was going into school and there were lots of tiddly girls who hadn't really developed yet, and I already had quite wide hips and chunky thighs and boobs. And you know, it'd be great if I was in Game of Thrones and be ready for breeding, but you know, it's sadly I was going to school full of tiddly tiny girls, and I did a lot of comparison of myself and why don't I look like that, mum? And she'd say, oh, don't be ridiculous, you're gorgeous, and la la la. And she was always really positive and motivating about what I looked like, but I still really compared myself a lot of the time all the way through school. And even when they'd kind of developed, I still really focused on that. And when I was a teenager, it was Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, that kind of thing. And it was the pretty blonde that's slim, not necessarily skinny, but I mean, Kate Moss was really popular, and she was kind of so funny because what was my body shape has now come into huge fashion now of get a giant bum and you'll look like a Kardashian. And it was like, that was a worldwide spread of all the teenage programs. You know, you'd see a girl, she'd be looking in the mirror and she'd be saying to her friend, oh, does my bum look big in this? And now they want it to look big. So it's so confusing.
Obviously, neither of us would have had social media, particularly at the level that it's at now when we were teenagers. But even as an adult, sometimes I look at other people who are my age still on Instagram and think, oh, I'm never going to have that body shape. Realistically, I will never, ever be able to look like that because my bone structure and my body shape are not the same. And so if I want someone to inspire me, it needs to be someone who's got a similar kind of body shape, a similar age, a similar metabolism to me. The point is with that, we can't, because I don't know everything about everyone. They might have a quicker metabolism than me, even if they look the same and are at the same age. So as an adult, it can be sort of just as comparative as a teenager. Looking back, I compared myself to my friends and I compared myself to celebrities, but comparing myself to peers not so much because I couldn't see it online constantly.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of funny comparison, oh, when I was 15, and it's like
Mm.
a girl, doing the peace sign, and she's got braces and she's clearly 15. And then it's like, oh, now 15-year-olds, and they look like a 25-year-old with a full face of makeup.
As a teenager, you now have the opportunity to compare yourself to a 2D image, and you don't know what they've done. You don't know what tools they've used to edit their pictures or the way they've stood.
Yeah, I imagine it is so much tougher now to be a teenager because you have that expectation online of this is what you should look like. Why don't
Yeah,
you look like this? Whereas I
yeah,
didn't have, and I don't think you had that kind of level, as you said, of social media. I mean, Facebook kind of came into play when I was sort of 14, something like that. But it was just nothing like today.
no.
It must be so challenging
And
to
we
be a
had rubbish
teenager.
phones. Like my phone
Yeah.
is better than my camera. We had disposable cameras that you could throw away pictures if you didn't
Yeah.
like them. And I had hair mascara and blue eyeshadow was all the rage when I was a teenager. Thank goodness Facebook didn't exist. I mean, I hate to think what my Instagram would have looked like because I thought I looked great. One of the things that we've seen in the research is that body image, it's not something you're born with, in a sense. It's a learned behavior. I can see that, one, from the mentors, I suppose, that I put around me. So I can see it through my parents, but I can also see it through, like I said, the books and the things that I read. But as a teenager, we kind of pull away from our parents a bit more. Do you think it can be learned behavior from even your friendships and things like that?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Growing up with the friends that I did, they were all very supportive and we were all really each other's champions. But I do think that there was this kind of culture amongst us of, I'm so fat and ugly. No, you're not. I'm fat and ugly. No, you're not.
Hmm.
I'm fat and ugly. We would take that on, and it was
Yeah.
totally ridiculous because none of us were those things. We were
Mm.
all shapes and sizes and different looks and different hair colors and different backgrounds, but that doesn't mean that any of us were unattractive. It was all
Yeah.
just kind of like that was almost like a fashionable thing to do. Sadly, it's a very female thing to do. Of if somebody gives you a compliment, put yourself down. You don't always go thank you. You say, oh no, you are. You give it away, don't you, rather than take it, which is just the most mad thing. Now I've definitely got, so I'm very lucky to have kept my school friends, and then we still really champion each other. But I think there's still a diet culture amongst us of, oh, I must
Mm.
like this, I must, oh God, I've got to go on this diet, or have you looked at this before? And I think we try and make it more about personal goals now, and slowly rather than crash dieting.
So when I first moved here to Faversham, I would say most of my friends were size 10 naturally. And I was the fat friend in my mind. And it did stop me going out for quite a while. I stopped because it just made me feel so sad. And if we went out for a meal, they'll say, oh, I'll just order this. Oh, that's too much. Oh, I couldn't eat anymore. And like, I can. I could eat dessert. Like, oh, I don't want dessert. I've had too much. And I'm thinking, well, that's me getting chocolate bar on the way home then. I think my body image has got better during lockdown, which makes me think that my body image is affected by me comparing myself to people. And I'm certainly not at the best, if you were going to say, in terms of measurements, not at all. But I feel like because I'm not comparing myself in the same way, my body image is better, which I find really interesting.
The whole lockdown ready thing is, I mean, I think it's worrying, but I mean, I've also been guilty of saying it like, oh no, I need to get, when we all come out of lockdown, I need to have lost this amount of weight, or I need to look this way. But realistically, I mean, I've seen a lot of people posting about it on my social media platforms and just being like, oh my God, we need to do something, funny scenes from The Office, like screaming and running around. But it's, we've got a date, we've got to do something about the weight. And it's like, oh, but at the same time, I think it's really important to just look at whether or not we're doing well mentally, being healthy, because that's the most important thing. Weight is just a number. We need to look at whether or not we're coping with this huge difference that's been placed in our lives. This small feat that we're doing, or we're going through, I should say, right now. But I think I did put that kind of pressure on myself at the beginning, and now I'm looking at myself and saying, do you know what? Take your time, slow down, don't get caught up in that culture, because it's very, very easy.
I asked a friend about that. She said the only reason why she wanted to get lockdown ready was because she wanted to return to the weight that she was before she spent her life in lounge pants. And was saying that otherwise she'd have to buy a whole new wardrobe to fit her. And I was like, I'd be in for the whole new wardrobe.
Me too.
Is it okay? Is it okay if I don't like my body?
My immediate reaction is no. But I think that's because I've had a very long battle of love and hate with my own body. Just, I'm sure everybody else has. Of going from a size where I felt fantastic, which I think was at university, because I've got a naturally small waist no matter what size I am. But when I am slightly larger, like I am at the moment, it doesn't really matter if I've got a small waist, because I'm just focusing on tummy and arms and legs, and there's been a lot of hate there. I think it helps to have the right people around you.
It's understandable to feel that way. I don't like my body. As we've both said, we've both been through times when that is. But I think if I was talking to a friend and they said to me, I don't like my body, to me that would be like, then we need to have a conversation, because we've got this body, it can do amazing things, and let's work on you liking your body. So therefore, if I'm going to say that to a friend, then I need to say that to myself, perhaps. And I think we need to change the narrative on body image. I think the way that we talk about weight as well. But I think also, because we started, we were saying it's about the perception, how you feel about your body, how you think about your body, and how you behave. Perhaps we need to look at something in each of those 4 pillars that can help us love our body better. So something that helps us in the way we think about our body. So for example, something I've seen people do is to write out parts of their body and say what it does and say what they're thankful for. So I'm thankful for my hands because they help me make things. I'm really thankful for my legs because I can walk places with them.
Yeah, it's really important as well, just as I kind of gravitated to do that naturally a minute ago, but you should always try and highlight something that you like about your own body. You should always do something, and you should just always remember that it's not all negative, because even if you can't think of one thing but you still like your eyes, you should always remember that there's always something positive, even in your darkest moments where you're feeling really down. There's always going to be something that somebody else is going to be envying.
I hated school PE and I hated anything to go to the gym, and the only reason I went to the gym is because I felt bad about myself. So it was like a punishment. I have to exercise because I'm fat. That would have been my mindset. And getting a personal trainer was the best thing for me, because she was able to show me what my body can do and make me realize that I didn't need to punish myself by going to the gym. And now through lockdown, I've spent most of it doing dance, because that's the thing that makes me happy, and that's the thing that makes me love my body. I love stretching and moving and seeing how my body moves. Finding the exercise that makes you feel good rather than finding an exercise that makes you punish your body is really helpful as well.
And I also think it helps to know when to stop listening to somebody's own opinions of their own body. Don't take that. And also stop listening if you're watching something where they are promoting, oh, you should do it like this, and oh, it's not so good because you're bigger or you're smaller or whatever. And just know when to stop listening. I think that's something that's really important, because I've been guilty of it in the past, because I don't want to be rude. It's very British, and I'd carry on and I keep taking it in and taking it on, and my shoulders get heavier and heavier. It's actually very important to just allow yourself those boundaries, and to even if you're standing there being polite, to shut down and just be like, oh, okay, that's you, but that's not me. And making the distinction.
Is it okay?
Is it okay to shame somebody who's overweight to help them lose weight.
Interesting. I think that kind of fits into what I was saying just then about punishing my body. Like, I think there's so much shame and stigma around being whatever we decide is fat or overweight. I just think that we need to change that narrative, because there are actually studies that show that shaming people just makes them put on more weight.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, because you've already got an inner critic. Most of us have one already.
I know very few of those people that I'll show them. It's more like, oh, and now you've upset me, I'm going to go home and eat.
When you shame someone, it tends to increase the level of cortisol. And that is, the outset of that means that your appetite is stimulated, because that's what cortisol does. And also, high cortisol is stress. So when we've got higher cortisol, we're stressed. And then again, if we're stressed and we go to eating, again, we've kind of perpetuated that cycle. It's interesting to think of what we deem as shaming, because I'm thinking in my head, if you're bullied for being fat. But I think shame is more subtle than bullying.
Okay.
So weight loss organisations and products are allowed to give out flyers to primary school children to give to their parents. If children are seeing that message, again, are they seeing that, oh, if I'm overweight, it's a bad thing? But we also have a national scheme that weighs children at school.
I can't believe it. I'm so shocked that children are being weighed. Children, not teens.
And I honestly can't see how that doesn't bring shame onto a child.
Absolutely.
Because children talk.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to be singled out. It's an opportunity to be bullied. It's an opportunity to be different and odd in comparison to your friends. And then self-comparison, it all comes back round again. It's like a big cycle, and it's damaging at that young, very delicate age where you're forming your thoughts and opinions.
If you are encouraged to feel good about your body, then you might actually change the way you see your body, and therefore the way you behave about your body as well. Self-care takeaway. We're going to come to an end there. We have got a self-care takeaway today, and it's really simple, and that is to go to the bodyhappyorg.com and click on the resources tab. This is a new organisation by Molly Forbes, who is a massive body positivity advocate on Instagram. There's some great self-care toolkits, also just great information about what being body happy might look like. That is it for us. We will put some of the links down below so that you don't know that we're lying about the studies that we've talked about today. We will be back in April with our news, viewed and mood, and hopefully I'll have had a dirty burger by then.
Let's hope.
All right, bye.
Bye.